Mark, welcome to the summit, man. How you doing down
I'm
south?
I'm doing great, Chase. Thanks for having me on. What a worthy effort. Thank you for doing this.
I appreciate you. Appreciate you. Thanks. And
Yeah,
last
yeah.
time, we met, it was up in Tahoe. And before that, I was
hmm
actually in front of your incredible backdrop there. We're down in
That's
San
right.
Diego area for the podcast.
uh
How are you, man? How's Mark as a human being doing today?
Man, I am doing really, really well. Um, it's You probably share this, but warriors are custom built for crisis,
Hmm.
and so anytime something like this happens, I just kind of click into overdrive. It's natural, and I was
Yeah.
trained that way as a Navy SEAL, and so I thrive. I thrive in chaos, and if I
Hmm.
feel really alive right now. I feel really healthy, and you know, even even warriors can get complacent when they don't have a battle to fight, right? So
True. Very true.
so it's really been good for me to like sharpen my own saw and get back on the mat with my Sansu, training, and step up my game with my meditation and my training. And I'm committed to 200 burpees a day just because
You're a
uh,
crazy man.
burpees are like dental floss for me. Just got to do them. Anyways, that's a long-winded answer. I'm doing pretty good. My family's good, so thank you, and
Good.
you
Good.
as well, I imagine.
Absolutely. Yeah. I'm with you. Yeah. It's almost like we have itchy trigger fingers, metaphorically, of course.
Right.
People, definitely with the military background, you and
Sure.
myself, but just people who have kind of devoted, a significant portion of their life to the mindset approach to just getting
Sure.
prepared for trying events.
Yeah.
That being said,
Yeah.
introduce yourself, please. Someone who doesn't know who you are, what the hell are we talking about here?
Right. But I do want to say something. That it really is an attitude. It helps to have training, but it starts with an attitude, right? The warrior is an archetypal attitude. And so everybody listening be like, oh yeah, I can step into that. Right. And also once you step into it and you start living that way, then it becomes a permanent fixture in your life. It doesn't mean you have to like grab a weapon and go off to war. Let's hope it never comes to that.
Of course.
But, and I wasn't always a warrior. I had to click into that in my early 20s. I had to find my warrior archetype. So quick about me, I'm from upstate New York, kind of an average kid. Went to Colgate, so maybe you're saying, well, that wasn't so average, but I was pretty much an average straight B student at Colgate, upstate New York, institution. And then I was fortunate enough to get an opportunity to go to New York. I went down there after college, got my MBA, CPA, and was working in the Wall Street kind of rush, right? The churn. And it was my introduction to a Zen master when I was 21 that really changed everything for me. And so 4 years after that, 4 years after studying Zen through a martial arts master named Nakamura, November of 1989, I got my MBA certificate in the mail. I got my CPA certificate. I got my first degree black belt all in that month. And then I got on a bus and went to Officer Candidate School.
An accountant that could kick your ass. That's
Yeah,
amazing.
I got on a bus to go to Navy SEAL training through OCS, and I became a Navy SEAL and Navy SEAL officer. And then I had a 20-year career as an officer in the SEALs, leading teams all around the world, and really successful. And retired as a commander in 2011. And before that, because I was partly a reserve officer, I was able to get into business, and so tried my hand at entrepreneurship. So I started 5 different businesses, all varying degrees of success. Some of them eight figures, and some of them big holes in the ground.
Wow.
And but my passion, Chase, as you know, and everyone else will soon learn, is to started out to teach spec ops warriors what I had learned through the Eastern arts and integrating that with some Western psychology that I had also learned as a practical psychologist. That's a Tony Robbins term,
Sure.
but you know what I mean? Like just studying everything I could, because I grew up in a pretty chaotic, angry, alcoholic household. And here I am operating with these elite Navy SEALs, and my shadow is leaking out all over the place. And so I literally started this because I married a therapist, right, when I was about 29. And that was really when I got into the emotional development.
I caught that in our interview last time. So
yeah, you probably didn't,
emotional intelligence work. Yeah.
For sure. Yeah. And so I became a deep student of Western psychology and therapy. And I've had literally 1,000 hours of therapy myself. I think it's just incredibly valuable. And now, now I was kind of like just doing it for my own growth. But I had this intuitive sense. And one of the things that martial arts and Zen brings to you as a human being is deep intuition, like insight into what the nature of reality, and especially your own. And when you look within and you see all the shit you don't like, then you get really motivated to change, right? So it's a growth, enabler and accelerator, meditation is. But meditation alone doesn't really do much with the emotional without a little bit of support. And that's where the merging of the Eastern practices with the Western psychological practice is like money. It's extraordinarily powerful. At any rate, I stumbled upon that, and I developed a training regimen for myself that was super effective, and I wanted to bring it to the SEALs. And so I launched a company 2006 called SEALFit, where I started training SEALs and other special operators in this model I called integrated development. And wow, within months, we saw some extraordinary things. And by the time the SEALs started, these candidates now started going to SEAL training, they were graduating with a smile on their face. A 90% success rate, right? Compared to like 85% fail rate for people who are just, yes, credible, actually. And so something was different about these people. And now, the SEALs have taken notice, and they're starting to integrate our training into BUDS. So with the pararescue and whatnot. At any rate, very quickly in those early years of SEALFit, I had people like yourself who were like, strong, mostly guys, 80% men, but not all men. Some really, really incredibly strong and talented women have come through our training. And they're like, it started like this, a phone call. Hey, Mark, I see you've got this training for Spec Ops candidates down there. He goes, I'm a 28-year-old guy. I'm a, white collar professional. I thought once about becoming a SEAL, but I didn't take that path. And I kind of want to see what it was like, or whether I could have made it.
I thought about joining the military. I was like, but then I didn't. I was like, oh, okay.
I know. Well, and that was my first reaction was kind of that. And then I recognized that, hey, there's a lot of people who choose, when they come to the fork in the road, they take it, and it's not what we did, but they always wonder. And so when I put myself in their shoes, I'm like, yeah, I'd kind of want to know the answer to that question. At least, do I have what it takes to get through, Hell Week, for instance, which is the SEAL's hardest training. And we had a program called Kokoro Camp. Originally it's called the SEALFit Challenge Camp, but we changed the name to Kokoro, which means heart, mind, whole mind, or merging your heart and mind into your actions, which is really what is happening in this training. And so we said, yeah, you can come to this training, but I'm not going to treat you any differently than the SEAL candidates. In fact, you're going to train right side by side with them. You're going to have the same SEAL instructors in your face, and we'll see how it goes. And a lot of these people did really, really well. A lot of them blitzed out miserably too. Our pass rate for that course went from like 90% to like 40%.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we've had classes with like where one person graduated, the lone SEAL candidate or the lone hard guy. Yeah. It's a really, really tough program, SEALFit. At any rate, so that was really what put us on the map, because that integrated training model was really groundbreaking. And in the training, and anyone can do this, right? So everyone listening can think this, wow, I can actually do that. And what it does, Chase, is it kind of unlocks what we call vertical development. Most success programs or personal development programs are really focused on like horizontal development. That means like get some new skills so that who you are right now can be more effective.
And load up the toolbox.
Yeah, load up the toolbox. More skills around planning, productivity, goal setting, right? Peak performance like sleep and fueling and recovery and exercise. All of that is really good. We consider that foundational. It's not going to change who you are, though. So our program wants to change who you are, and very fast. So it's an accelerated vertical development. Vertical development means that you're moving up stages of consciousness, becoming more aware, becoming more connected, becoming more, balanced, and having more equanimity and less attachment to the stories that are, and overcoming shadow, like we were talking about earlier.
That next level self.
The next level, and then after that next level is the next level, and each level transcends and includes the level before it. And the cool thing is, at each level, all those other tools that you had around productivity, performance, deep work, creativity, you become more effective at those too, because you're deploying them from a higher stage of development.
Sure.
And so when I say I sent SEALs to combat, I gave them the horizontal tools to dominate buds, but it was the vertical tools that allowed them to be better teammates and to be just better people. And my ultimate aim there was to create a more world-centric warrior who could make decisions on the battlefield that were going to benefit humanity, not just them or the mission or even just America, right? And we need more of that, in my opinion, right?
I agree. Benefiting humanity is, I think, on a lot of people's minds right now.
Big time.
Here we are, by the time we're recording this, personally, I've been on the lockdown quarantine for a month. And at this stage, it's going to be at least another 30 days. Yeah, you too. And so I think a lot of people have become more aware, or, hopefully through events like this, becoming more aware of, hey, now is the time to really kind of begin to look inward and level up yourself and do a lot of personal development work, or just find the ends of Netflix or read a book. I got a great recommendation for you here.
I've heard that's a good one.
It is. I know a guy. But I love your point of benefiting humanity. And yes, the personal development work is very necessary. But at the end of the day, we need to bring it together. We need to bring people together to create these teams. And humanity, we're all on the same team there. So with the new book here, Staring Down the Wolf, I think, again, congrats again, by the way, of, the recent release here. How would you relate the 7 leadership commitments here, or just, one really, in forging elite teams now when we can't really be together? Like, how do you bring unison and teamwork and camaraderie to a scattered team we all might be right now?
Well, we are all energetic beings and we're all connected. So even though we think we're not being connected, of course, we're connected through technology here with Zoom. Thank you, Zoom. Yeah, but we are all connected, whether we're sitting in our home or we're with each other in an office. And so let me back up a little bit. So that's the first point. Like, don't think you're not connected, because you are. Now, the question is, are you individually able to connect with your team? And that's a matter of whether you've trained yourself or opened yourself up enough to be able to really deeply connect. And that's more of the heart.
Your team being, your actual work team, your family, your friends.
Family first. Well, first the team is you and you.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah, of course.
Right? You and your deepest, higher self, you, and your egoic self, you. If you look at that as a team, like, got to work together. The second part of your team is you and your immediate family, your trusted loved ones, because, in a severe crisis, it all kind of collapses to that. And then, for those of us who are on work teams, especially entrepreneurs, then it goes out to the next wave is that team. And then that team waves out to its clients, customers, and stakeholders. And then that collective team that starts with you and your family, you and your work team and your client and your tribe, then rippling out to the one team, which is the humanity, right? And so they're all connected. And you're going to work in them through those waves, right? Until the waves just start to resonate and ripple, and you're having a profound effect on humanity, but it starts with you.
Yeah.
It starts with you. One of our overarching philosophies at SealFit, and then our corporate training company, which is called Unbeatable, is mastery of the self in service to humanity.
Yeah.
Mastery of the self comes first, because if you're not doing that, you can't serve effectively. It's going to be transactional or it's going to be egoic. And this is one of the reasons that has led us to, such crisis in industry and in politics, and also the environmental crisis, is that most people have been doing it from the perspective of, how does this help me? How does this serve my needs? And companies have been exploiting the earth because they want to see what's in it for me. And they're actually legally held accountable to their shareholders.
Sure, yeah.
And so the whole system is rigged for ego level operations. And it just can't go on. And I think, this COVID crisis, one way to look at this, and I've been saying this now since the very beginning to my tribe, is like, this is kind of a Mother Earth basically saying, okay, stop what you're doing. Take a break so I can heal, because, if we keep going like this, it might be too late. There might be a tipping point, right? And she stopped us. And I saw
seen the pictures of the Himalayan mountains that
unbelievable.
For the first time in over, I think 40 years, you can actually see them from the ground.
Totally. Brought tears to my eyes, because there's entire generations that have never seen the Himalayas from that area in the Punjab province. And now they're seeing it. And so my sincerest hope is that after this pause, we also press the pause button on just going back to doing things the way we used to do it. This is an incredible opportunity to think differently.
We have an opportunity for a new baseline. Absolutely. We don't have to just
change the baseline and how we do business, how we educate people, how we communicate, and back to our conversation, how we connect. So instead of just going back and getting back on the distraction bandwagon, having practices and ways for each one of us to just slow down every day and to connect to your heart and connect at a heart level to your team and your family, your community. I think we're seeing that happen now, but I want people to really appreciate that this is a tremendous opportunity for us to cement these practices in and to come through this as more evolved, not just individually, but as a society. Huge opportunity.
Yeah,
I think this isn't to be feared, right?
I agree.
Fear is a false evidence that appears real. The reality here is this is a huge opportunity, and I know some people are suffering around. Of course, if you're infected, you're gonna, or you're having an issue with that, then you're suffering, and our hearts go out for you. And those of you who lost jobs and are feeling like, holy shit, financially it's going to fall apart. Just trust. Trust that it'll all be okay and something better will be, come of this. And that this is just an amazing opportunity for us all.
I agree. And I think, for people like you and myself and anybody with, a military background or just any sort of significant high intense training, this is where, what's the old, I'm going to butcher the statement, I'm having a brain fart right now, but, fall back on your training is, when the shit hits the fan or when fear sets in or when you question what is the next move, well, what you need to do is just go back to your training, go back to your infrastructure, go back to the mindset that is going to push you through when the body maybe wants to stop. So with that in mind, maybe someone who doesn't have that kind of training, we're talking about some key concepts here that you can begin to introduce. This is your new training for sure. One tangible thing, like one thing right now to really push through the fear. Like Mark, what is that one thing they can work on?
Well, in the book Staring Down the Wolf, the 7 commitments, the 7 commitments are courage, trust, respect, growth, excellence, resilience, and alignment. And they really kind of stack on top of each other or are linked or interrelated.
Sure.
And the reason courage is first is because it takes courage to really stop the negative fear-based conditioning that we have and that is rampant in our society.
And only it's innate as humans, really.
It is innate. Yeah, we have a fear negativity bias. Your brain is 5 times as likely to be negative as it is positive. And we have all that shadow based from early childhood trauma. And that's the soft underbelly of leadership is people just don't look at that. And they think that we're supposed to be perfect because that's what culture projects. That's what social media projects. And even that's what a lot of the old leadership books projects, good to great. You should be perfect. You should be able to do this. The reality is leaders are in their own way because they bring their shadow in the environment. And so they become the limiting factor. And that breaks down trust. Yeah. And so unless trust is there, you're not going to have respect. And unless respect is there, trust, respect, built on courage is there, you're not going to grow through and with your team. Your team is going to get stuck. And you will get things done, but you're not going to have the higher level thinking, that win-win-win thinking that we're talking about here. So how do you overcome fear so that you can step into courage is the question. And I believe it's a practice. It's a practice of daily checking in the morning and winning in your mind. And that, can be elaborate, but it all starts with breath control training. Yeah. Right? We call it box breathing because box breathing is the bridge. It's the link between your body, your mind, and your spirit. It's the tool that can calm your body down and de-stress you so you're not always in that agitated state that,
It is that bridge from parasympathetic to sympathetic. It is
big
the
time,
the gatekeeper. Absolutely. Yeah.
It's the gatekeeper. And so once you start this practice of box breathing, which is, inhale 4 count, hold 4 count, exhale 4 count, hold 4 count. And you just use it to bleed off stress for the day. And then over time, day by day, in every way, you're going to get less stressful,
Very true.
Very
true. Yeah.
So then you become very, very calm. Now, if your body brain is calm, then you're going to have the capacity for more mindfulness, which is why everyone fails at mindfulness meditation, is because they're agitated and their mind's bouncing all over the place. So first, we calm our body brain down, and we develop a more concentrated power through box breathing with our brain or our mind. And then we can become more mindful. And when we become more mindful, we're able to see the truth, right? Yeah. Around things. Yeah. In like this conversation, my mindfulness sees the opportunity and sees the blessing in this current crisis. It doesn't latch onto the fear. It doesn't latch on to negative consequences. Therefore, I don't attract them into my life. I repel them. So this simple tool, it's followed by 3 other really important tools that I talk about. I call them big 4 skills. The second one, real quickly, is to maintain a very cultivate and maintain a very positive mental and emotional state. There's a lot of work involved in that. But for sure. Part of it is, being able to fix your attention on the positive and not be, distracted by the negative. So that follows from mindfulness practice. And then also developing the emotional stability and awareness that we talked about earlier. And then the third is imagery. So being able to visualize a more powerful future. So I can see the future, my version of the future after this, and in 3 to 5 years, and then in 25 years, I see my version of the future in 25 years, because I've been practicing a future-oriented visualization now for 30 years. It's extremely powerful because future visualization creates a memory of a potential future. And the more
neural imprint, absolutely.
Right, the more you practice it, the more it becomes a probable future until it becomes destiny. So visualization is most people teach it in performance as like practicing a skill. I teach it as practicing becoming who you really want to be.
Beautiful.
And then the last skill is being able to stay laser focused, present, and task oriented with micro goals. Yeah. These are really, really powerful for all leaders to learn. And when you habituate them to where they just become second nature, man, nothing can get in your way.
Created a new higher level identity, like you were saying in the beginning, and it all just compounds on top of the last one. Absolutely. Right. So Staring Down the Wolf here. And I can tell you, Mark, that a book that was really instrumental for me, years ago, I keep it on my shelves, is one of your OGs here, The Way of the Seal. This is, I say, if you guys are watching and want more books to read, this is a great one to look into for like the personal side, like build up the innate leader in you. And then, the latest one is bringing the leadership skills to the table for you as a human, as a family, as a company, as a species. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I appreciate you, Mark. It's been great having you on. Thanks for being part of the summit here.
Yeah, it's been a total honor, Chase. I really honor you for the work you're doing, and thanks for doing this for charity. And I look forward to staying in touch. And to everybody, stay focused and be positive.
Yeah,
right? We got this. We got this. Easy day. Hoo-yah.